Hi guys, well today it's episode 7 of 12 Crafts of Christmas, and today I'm going to show you how I made these items. And I'm going to be making a quote frame, floral centerpieces, some decorative wine bottles, and a wreath. And all these items were inspired from like working with old Christmas decor, so I made all this from recycled items. And I hope it gives you guys an idea on what you can do with your old Christmas decor or some used items. And I hope you guys like it, and let's get started. And we're going to be starting with some clean bottles and some twine, obviously a hot glue gun. And you just want to start with the bottom piece. And this is the only stripe that goes around that I glued completely. As you can tell, I do a little line of hot glue all the way around to make sure it doesn't move. And then after that, I start rolling several rows in a row and then just gluing a little spots here and there. And I just want to point out that out of this whole project, the only thing that I had to get was the twine, but not gonna lie, I stole it from my sister, so I didn't have to buy that. But I mean, they are about $3 to $4 at Walmart, and this roll was enough to make 3 wine bottles, and I still had quite a bit left, probably for about another 2 maybe. And as you can tell, once we start getting to the top, since it's more curvy, you do have to glue like every stripe down, every piece of twine. Then when you get to this part again, then you can kind of do several rows in a row without having to glue down each one. At the very end, I just glued it all the way to the top and glued the whole strip and cut off that extra piece and just kind of glued it to make sure it doesn't move. And as you can tell, it's all covered up. Then I had these little like bushes, like little, I don't know what to call them, little bushels of like mixed floral and fruit, and as you can tell, little gifts. So I had quite a few of them, so I did them all the same. So I wanted to make sure that all the branches I had were the same. So I divided them into groups and slowly started to assemble them. But if you go to like the 99-cent store or Dollar Tree, they have like already pre-assembled little bushes, and you can get just 3 and not have to do anything. So like I said, this is all from recycled items, so I just cut everything and put them together myself. I hot glued them and then used some floral wire, which again I did not buy. There were just pieces that kind of fell off some of the stuff, and I just added till I thought was cute. And these had some really pretty little red pears, and I thought those would be perfect because they covered in glitter, but it's that really chunky glitter, and they're really pretty. So as you can tell, once it was done, I glued the whole thing to the bottle, and then I used some ribbon, which I already had, but I mean, of course you can go get some that you like. And I wanted to use the sparkly, glittery red ribbon, and I did a bow, and then I just did a stripe going all the way around because I wanted to make sure it was covered where you could see where I had glued it. So I just do like a whole little strip around and glue it all the way. I glued it on every part of the ribbon and cut off the extra, and then just glued that little bow that I first made right in front, and that's basically it. And they came out beautiful, gorgeous. Every time somebody sees them, they're like, oh my god, where did you get these? I'm like, I made them, and they're shocked. And on top of that, it was from all used items. So the next project I'm going to be doing is, I had some of these little berries from fall, and I wanted to use them over to Christmas. So I have tons of glitter, so I just used some sealer and sprinkled some gold glitter on top. And then I used some ribbon to make some little bows, and I'm just kind of pointing out that they're 8 inches and then about 10 inches. And I had a little piece of twine, and I pulled apart this little pre-assembled bow that I had, and I'm going to be using both parts. I'm just going to be using the center and the little wire wrap thingy that comes with it, putting it back together, and then I make a bow, which is pretty self-explanatory, as you can see. If you've made bows before, you can kind of see they're pretty easy. Then I just simply use the twine to tie it together. Then you want to get some glue and glue both of the bow forms together. And I used that little tie and twisted them together to keep them in place also. Then I just simply put a bead of glue like at an angle so that it doesn't fray. Keeps the burlap from fraying. So then I went ahead and scrunched it and glued it, obviously, to keep it from moving. And I put that other red part of the other bow that I had taken apart and just hang it in the front, and then add that part to the back, if that makes any sense. And just glue it to your basket or whatever you're gonna use as a like base. So I went ahead and started sticking my poinsettias, and I would love to have real poinsettias, but I can have those. They make cats sick if they eat them. So I opted for fake ones. But you can use any kind of flower you want. Like I said, I'm using poinsettias. They're beautiful. Then once I kind of have them how I want it, I start adding the berries. And once those are kind of set into place, as you can see, I start adding. I had some other like different like red berries, and I had some like leaves and little like Christmas branch trees leaves. I don't even know what to call them, but I just kind of added it till I liked it. But this is where you're like free to do what you want, because you can use whatever colors you want, whatever flower style, whatever you want. So it lets you be creative. And for the wreath, I did use this wire form, which I did also buy, but it was only $3, and you can find them at Walmart. This one's a 12-inch, and I just started gluing the, what do you call it, the ornaments, and I kind of started doing them like as you can tell, like leaving space between it, so that I could kind of space out the colors as I wanted them. But as I start to assemble it, you see that I can't fit them in between, so this is not the best way to do it. You want to just start going, and then see, I have to remove it. So just place them where you want them. Just kind of keep in mind that to alternate the colors, you're just gonna have to keep going in one line, if that makes any sense, like one next to another next to another. And then once I have the center part, like the first circle, I kind of start adding them like here and there on the sides, and I just kind of start moving, like placing them in different spots to see how they look, because not every color, like you don't want two green ones together or two gold, like try to space them out. And I had more reds than any other color, and again, these were all recycled ornaments, so you can go ahead and buy like a pack of new ones if you want. That way you can get specifically like the design you want. But these are the colors that I have in my home, and that's the way I wanted it, and I wanted it more red than any other color, so that's why I have more red. But the good thing is that it is like a different like shades. There's shiny, there's like glittery ones, and there's textured ones, so it makes it look like good. Then I had all these berries, and I just cut them into like little bunches of 2 or 3s, and I just kind of start filling in the empty spaces and adding them to wherever I need them, which I definitely like how it looked. Then once I had put what I wanted, I started adding leaves, and I'm actually glad I added the leaves, because this made it look so much cuter. And I had two different types of leaves, so I added one type first, so that I knew exactly like how far I was spacing it out, and then I added the other ones just so that I could again see how spaced out I wanted them. I noticed that when I lifted it up, and I kind of like lifted it up to see how it looked, you could kind of see through the little gaps in between. So I got this red raffia that I had, and I just filled in the gaps and hot glued it down so that you couldn't see through it. So I had these frames that I always have at home, but I decided to cover them in like wrapping paper. So I used this plaid one. I covered it, taped it down, make sure it didn't move. And as you can tell, I'm showing you that I'm cutting it there. And I first taped it so it wouldn't move, and then I cut the corners off so that when I folded it over, it wasn't too bulky. And the good thing about this is that you can take it off afterwards. So obviously you want to leave a little hole for where you hang it from. And I was writing here what I'm gonna write, and I'm kind of like giving myself like a feel for where each word is gonna be at. And I wrote it down with a pen first, just so I could kind of see where the letters were gonna be. And the good thing is, depending on of course the wrapping paper, but since this was so like it was plaid, so if I messed up, you couldn't really tell with the pen. So once I kind of wrote down and kind of like sketched it out where I wanted it, I went in with the white paint, and I just, as you can tell, one layer isn't like opaque enough to cover everything, so I had to do 3 or 4 layers, and I let them dry in between and went over. And I just want to point out that I don't know if it's just this wrapping paper or if it's others, but if I did mess up, I was able to get a wet towel and just wipe it off and go over it again. And as you can see, you can't really tell, but again, I don't know if it was my paper or what the deal was, but either way it worked out great. So you might want to test it on another piece of scrap on yours, just in case. That way you know if you can wipe it off, and it kind of gives you more freedom of knowing that, you know, if you screw up, you can fix it. And the quote I used was, "Christmas is not a season, it's a feeling." And I did other words in regular fonts, just the feeling in cursive, and you are gonna have to do 2 or 3 coats to get it nice and white. I wouldn't stress out too much on the filling part, which I did, because it's gonna be covered in glitter. But I mean, if you know ahead which word you're gonna use to be covered in glitter, then you might not like bother covering it with so many layers of paint, because it's not gonna matter at the end. So if you want to save yourself some time, because I should have done that, but I didn't. But a tip for you guys. And as you can tell, I'm using some tacky glue, and I'm just kind of painting over all the part that I painted white, then sprinkling on some gold glitter. And you can use any color that you want, but this is what I have that goes with my theme. And as you can see, just keep doing the same thing. And I did it in parts just so that the glue wouldn't dry. And a little tip when you're working with glitter is that after you sprinkle it on, if you pat it down, it glues better and it reflects better, because it lays like flat, and so it has more surface to grab onto the glue. So it just kind of helps, especially if you're going to keep something for a longer period of time. It sets better, so just kind of press it down and helps with the gluing. And once it's dry, you can go ahead and put it back on the frame and hang it wherever you want. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked all these ideas, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you subscribe, you can definitely get notified of when I put up more. Thanks for watching. Bye.